Hello and welcome. I'm your host. This is Kerry Ilanumi with the monthly report for October 2017. Thank you so much for joining us. We have an action-packed show for you as always here, and it's even an outside show. That's right. I just couldn't bear doing another studio edition when it's literally 82 degrees outside in the Seattle area. So, as I live north of Seattle, so 40 miles. So here we are. I'm sweating. I'm out here in nature at one of the places I like to go and just feeling comfortable and bringing you into what would be that element. Thank you so much. Today we have video footage and whatnot. If you'll excuse me, I need to wipe my brow here. Whew. I'm getting overheated and the show hasn't even officially begun. Now, if you'll excuse me here, I have to use my cane today. I've got a lot of extra pain the last several days, a couple of weeks under the circumstances without going into that. So, but ultimately, Trump is going to be creating $200 million worth of, let's try this again here. Russia, okay, here, we're just going to start all over. Some of you may be aware that I attended a concert this week, which would be Daz Dillinger of the Dog Pound. Very exciting. Also, I'm delighted to be able to acknowledge that a very well-known, one of the best hip-hop groups out there, rap artists and groups, I won't say their name at the moment, but is now following as well on Twitter. How exciting. The news and the action is just stacking up day by day. It is almost surreal. We're seeing people turning against each other. We're seeing other people coming together. So it's a very interesting element and whatnot. But I do believe that the nation is not as divided as what some people would like to be able to pretend and proclaim. Because really, when it all boils down to it, we're all on the same page because we all need the same basic elements and factors. So as this economy continues to decline, I expect some people and many people in society to come together as friends and family, as community should. Not everybody's going to break down. But nonetheless, former President Obama apparently did wiretap, or what would be had knowledge of what would be President-elect and what would be the candidate at the time, Donald Trump, being wiretapped. So there's a lot of dirt and information will be coming out shortly over the weeks and months ahead regarding that. Obama is going to be looking horrible, his legacy, as it comes out, even though it just took a little while after he left. But anyway, change we can believe in. So ultimately, Mueller, Special Prosecutor Mueller, as I've acknowledged before, does have to go. The guy is a crook. It's a phishing operation, as they refer to a prosecutorial comment, categorization in which they're not even looking for specifically the crime that he did. They're just scoping anything and everything to find some kind of a crime to pin on him and take him down. That's what this is about, is to make Trump look bad. At the end of the day, it's called Never Trump and what would be resist. So they want to resist the light. Now, ultimately, here we go. I'd like to show you what would be actor Morgan Freeman talking about Russia as our so-called enemy. As now what would be, we see people in sports and people that are actors are now getting extremely political. We'll catch you right back after this video, and thank you so much.
Have been attacked. We are at war. Imagine this movie script. A former KGB spy, angry at the collapse of his motherland, plots a course for revenge. Taking advantage of the chaos, he works his way up through the ranks of a post-Soviet Russia and becomes president. He establishes an authoritarian regime, then he sets his sights on his sworn enemy, the United States. And like the true KGB spy he is, he secretly uses cyber warfare to attack democracies around the world. Using social media to spread propaganda and false information, he convinces people in democratic societies to distrust their media, their political processes, even their neighbors. And he wins. Vladimir Putin is their spy, and this is no movie script. We need our president to speak directly to us and tell us the truth. We need him to sit behind the desk in the Oval Office and say, my fellow Americans, during this past election, we came under attack by the Russian government. I've called on Congress and our intelligence community to use every resource available to conduct a thorough investigation to determine exactly how this happened. The free world is counting on us for leadership. For 241 years, our democracy has been a shining example to the world of what we can all aspire to. And we owe it to the brave people who have fought and died to protect this great nation and save democracy. And we owe it to our future generations to continue the fight.
And welcome back to the Monthly Report show. Thank you so much for sticking with us once again. Now, I have video footage of some factors that are going to cause one, as they usually do, to see things from the other side of the perspective. If you happen to hear, also just to let you know as a sidebar, a splashing in the background, those are fish. That's right, I'm right next to a creek. So if you hear running water or a splash, there are fish migrating up the stream. It's pretty exciting, as I am near one of the areas in nature that I like to visit sometimes in my spare time. And today, apparently, my work is coming with me. So, whew, I'm telling you folks, the show has just began and I am really sweating out here, but I know you the people want to see me busting butt and earning mine and working for it. So, hey, I'm doing it. But anyway, nonetheless, I need some kind of a cloth out here, a handkerchief or something to wipe this off with. I feel like I've gone for a rant or something. Whew. Now, the middle class is being destroyed. You know that, right? I'm pretty sure. Price of food is double, things aren't getting any easier, this and that. The question is, what are you the people going to do? You know, I mean, honestly, I've went to a lot of business owners and people over the years, and some of these folks have looked at me like I was kind of silly or goofy when I was telling them about this economy 10 years back, 11 years back, or whatever, that was going to come down, and they were looking at me like I was silly because they had, you know, prosperous businesses, and they knew their financial situation was much more lucrative and stable than mine, and they were looking at me like perhaps I should be more worried about my own economy and the circumstances. But now here we are today, as many of these people are on the verge of bankruptcy. So as some of them have looked at me a little goofy when I come into their stores, very passionate with a speech as such, something to say, I'm curious and wondering about some of these people as they've step by step allowed the circumstances to go the way they have, and some people haven't really tried to do much about it, and that causes me to question, wonder, worry, and have to really pray for some people out there. But nonetheless, President Trump gave a speech at the United Nations. He talked about sovereignty, which the news seems to be very against. Let's hear the full speech that needs to be heard in context versus taken out of context of our president, Donald Trump, talking at the UN, speaking, and we'll catch you right back.
All responsible leaders have an obligation to serve their own citizens, and the nation state remains the best vehicle for elevating the human condition. To overcome the perils of the present and to achieve the promise of the future, we must begin with the wisdom of the past. Our success depends on a coalition of strong and independent nations that embrace their sovereignty to promote security, prosperity, and peace for themselves and for the world. We do not expect diverse countries to share the same cultures, traditions, or even systems of government, but we do expect all nations to uphold these two core sovereign duties: to respect the interests of their own people and the rights of every other sovereign nation. This is the beautiful vision of this institution. And this is the foundation for cooperation and success. Strong, sovereign nations let diverse countries with different values, different cultures, and different dreams not just coexist, but work side by side on the basis of mutual respect. Strong, sovereign nations let their people take ownership of the future and control their own destiny. And strong, sovereign nations allow individuals to flourish in the fullness of the life intended by God. In America, we do not seek to impose our way of life on anyone, but rather to let it shine as an example for everyone to watch. This week gives our country a special reason to take pride in that example. We are celebrating the 230th anniversary of our beloved Constitution, the oldest Constitution still in use in the world today. This timeless document has been the foundation of peace, prosperity, and freedom for the Americans, and for countless millions around the globe whose own countries have found inspiration in its respect for human nature, human dignity, and the rule of law. The greatest in the United States Constitution is its first three beautiful words. They are, "We the people." Generations of Americans have sacrificed to maintain the promise of those words, the promise of our country and of our great history. In America, the people govern, the people rule, and the people are sovereign. I was elected not to take power, but to give power to the American people where it belongs. In foreign affairs, we are renewing this founding principle of sovereignty. Our government's first duty is to its people, to our citizens, to serve their needs, to ensure their safety, to preserve their rights, and to defend their values. As President of the United States, I will always put America first, just like you, as the leaders of your countries, will always and should always put your countries first.
It's only fair.
All responsible leaders have an obligation to serve their own citizens, and the nation state remains the best vehicle for elevating the human condition. But making a better life for our people also requires us to work together in close harmony and unity to create a more safe and peaceful future for all people. The United States will forever be a great friend to the world, and especially to its allies. But we can no longer be taken advantage of or enter into a one-sided deal where the United States gets nothing in return. As long as I hold this office, I will defend America's interests above all else. But in fulfilling our obligations to our own nations, we also realize that it's in everyone's interest to seek a future where all nations can be sovereign, prosperous, and secure. For too long, the American people were told that mammoth multinational trade deals, unaccountable international tribunals, and powerful global bureaucracies were the best way to promote their success. But as those promises flowed, millions of jobs vanished and thousands of factories disappeared. Others gamed the system and broke the rules. And our great middle class, once the bedrock of American prosperity, was forgotten and left behind. But they are forgotten no more, and they will never be forgotten again.
Hello, and welcome back to the monthly report. Now, we've heard a lot lately regarding NFL and people that are protesting and saying enough is enough, and it's about equality and justice for all and this and that, and that's why they refuse to even give any respect to the nation and the flag and this and that. Well, we have some videos here for you folks that's going to rock the boat, show you another side of the story once again, and hopefully they will influence you in ways and help you to see once again, because you know, people get a little confused, conservatives and liberals alike, Republicans and Democrats alike. Many of these factors wonder, you know, even libertarians sometimes question, what does Kerry stand for? You see, what is he? I'm a guy that seeks the truth. I'm not loyal to a political party like most of you people are. I don't need a political party, quite frankly, but I'm probably going to be forced, I guess I do need a political party, over the months ahead to choose when it comes time to run for U.S. House of Representatives, because I hate to say it, but it still is a two-party system. Trying to be an independent, trying to be a nonpartisan, like I did, you know, for the last election in 2016, well, that's an uphill battle. So I guess in a way I kind of do need the party system to a point. But I think you know what I'm trying to get around to here, that I don't really care about party politics, I care about the truth. So no matter what I run as, a Democrat, Republican, whatever, you know that I will continue to seek the truth. I will continue to represent and address everybody's needs. I will continue to, no matter what, make sure everybody gets a seat at the table and their voice is heard, because that's important to me. I seek the truth. So I won't put you down just because you're liberal. I won't put you down just because you're conservative. Trust me, there's a lot of flaws on all sides of the line. But nonetheless, I'd like you to check out why this man is burning his NFL gear. This is a man that's been into the NFL for many years, but he's loyal to the nation, and what he's seen is disgusting. So take a look at this video and we'll catch you right back. Thank you.
Hello, America. Doing this today because I made myself a vow and a promise that I would do this because of how I feel about this great country that I live in. I know a lot of men that have fought and died to give me the freedom to do what I'm doing here today. And since I was a boy, probably, I don't know, back in 1975, I fell in love with a group of men called the Hogs. They were a great group of men, a great team. They had good values, won a lot of Super Bowls, made a lot of appearances in the playoffs. The NFL was based on good values, and somewhere along the way, it got derailed. Instead of being a game, a sport, it became a way to state your political views. I sit at home on Sundays and I want to watch the NFL. I don't want to watch Fox News or CNN. If I want to watch Fox News or CNN and hear your political rants or your political views, I turn the news on. I came to watch football. I came to watch an American team win in one of the greatest sports in the world, football. But what I end up seeing and rubbed in my face, but not only the players on the team, the overpaid players on the team, but the announcers in the booth. They continually rub the protest in the face of the American people. I've had enough. I'm just one man. I've had enough. So today, and let me say this, I got a feeling that most of you players in the NFL have no idea what this means. A folded flag. You won't even stand for a waving flag. But how about a folded flag? A man who gave his life for a country he loved. So in my own little simple protest today, I'm going to do what I promised myself I would do. When I hear players from my own team mouth, rant and rave about their protest and how they feel. You're being paid to play. Play. You want to protest, do that on your own time. Not in my living room. Not when I want to watch my team play ball. So today, I give up. Today, I'm done. Today, I stand for the flag. And today, I am going to burn
feel has burnt the American people. And that's the NFL.
I like that, man.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of what it stands for. I'm tired of your views. I'm tired of your overpaid athletes. I'm tired of it all. You mock a president that the American people voted for, that the American people, the majority of the American people put in place. You mock him. I'm done. The advertisers that spend thousands of dollars to advertise, millions of dollars to advertise on your NFL networks, on your NFL channels, you're losing people by the thousands by the silly protest. The money that you're spending to advertise on this network, people aren't watching anymore. You're wasting your money. Who do you think's out there watching? You've got millionaires playing the game. These, by the way, were for a Super Bowl party that the team never could make it to. So I'm done. I'm proud to be an American. I stand for America. I stand for the American flag. I hope you'll do the same.
I hope so too. He made some valuable points there, didn't he? I think so. Well, let's go a little further with this. There's a man named Brandon Tatum, and he goes off on a little rant that is absolutely impressive. He speaks from the heart in his vehicle, and this has now garnered 40 million what would be views, according to my sources, across the globe already in the matter of days. So, very profound, very exciting, and this is something that needs to be thought of. Another angle to this, and this is where I've been coming from and whatnot. This man says it for me. African-American gentleman that's very educated, you can tell, and lays it down, and I don't see how anybody can argue with him. This man named Brandon. He says it how it is. It's not about protesting. You have the right to protest. It's not the right of this. It's not about that. There's a bigger picture here. But let's let Brandon tell you, because sometimes it's easier to hear these words from other people than it is me. Catch you right back.
All right. Wasn't gonna talk, but now y'all done made me talk. So look, this is my whole thing about this protesting and this taking a knee on the flag. For all you people who just seem to not understand, let me clarify this for you, okay? It's not about the act of protesting. It's not about the act of believing in something and pursuing it. It's the way you're doing it. I don't know how many times people have to say this. Listen, what does the American flag have to do with your perceived oppression? Well, what does the national anthem have to do with these issues that people are bringing up? It is a separate issue. The flag and the national anthem has nothing to do with what you're talking about. You're talking about an anthem of hope and unity within this country that have made people become great, that have made the poor become rich and give people opportunities. You're just talking about a flag that represents hard work, dedication, blood, sweat, and tears, sacrifice. And the thing that makes me most upset is that you have these people who turn around and take a knee and want to attribute all the negativity to the flag and the anthem, but don't want to attribute the positive. Listen, if you feel that the American flag represents negativity and slavery and all this other stuff, then you have to give credit and credence to a flag that have given you an opportunity to go from cornfields and picking cotton to being the president of the United States of America. Going from being segregated, can't go to proper schools, can't vote, taking you from that point to now you're making millions of dollars to play sports. And you know who's watching you? White people. I'm sick of y'all coming up with these lame excuses. The reason why America isn't, listen, Martin Luther King had support, you could call it bipartisan support. He had support on both sides. from people in the movement and people outside of the movement, because he did it with respect. He did it without robbing Peter to pay Paul. He did it with integrity. He did it with the mission. He did it with tangible goals that were achievable through hope, faith, and dedication, and unity and connectivity between all of us. These clowns are doing stuff off of trendiness. This is trendy. The issues they're talking about have nothing to do with the flag. You can address those issues at another venue. If you really care about black lives, you don't need to be taking a knee. You need to be out there doing something in the community. If you care about oppression, if you care about laws, then you need to be voting. You need to be putting yourself in position to assist in passing legislation. And one of y'all need to take the step and say, okay, well, I'm going to join the police department. Do something about it. Quit taking a knee and protesting and crying like a baby. Because at the end of the day, all you're doing is pissing people off. That's all you're doing. I asked the person that people cannot answer this question. What has happened since Colin Kaepernick took the first knee? What has happened? Have unemployment changed in the black community? Have black on black crime changed? Have police stopped shooting black people? Tell me what has changed. Has abortion rate dropped? Has recidivism changed? Has dropout rates changed? Tell me what has changed since he took a knee. Somehow there's more entrepreneurs, more opportunities, more jobs. What has changed? Nothing. Nothing has changed. Nothing is going to change. Stop whining like a baby. Suit up. Play the sport. Play the game. And actually do something about it. Stop dragging the flag in it. If you're going to cry about it on one end, but you don't want to give credence to it on the other end. I'm telling you, as an African-American man in this country, the flag means a lot to me. I honor the flag. I don't care if I don't like the president. I don't give a care about none of that stuff. I'm not going to disrespect the flag. I'm going to honor the people who fought for I can be free. That's it. If I don't do nothing else, I'm going to honor those people. Presidents come and go. 4 years, 8 years, they out. And I'm sick of you athletes. I was an athlete. I'm sick of y'all trying to act like just because you played in the NFL, you played sports, somehow you're an expert on life. You have no idea what you're talking about. Listen, you play a game. This is fairy tale world. You suit up, you lose, you go home. You cry, you play another game. In the real world, real heroes, when they lose games, they don't come back. When the game is over, there's no takebacks. When you lose, you die. That's real men. You making tackles, I'm saving lives. Don't come at me with that BS about being some sports player. You're playing a game. You're playing a game. The people who die for that flag, it ain't a game. That's real life. That's real sacrifice. Don't come at me with that. That's all I have to say. Y'all done made me mad. This country is greater than that. All you clown athletes, you ain't nothing. And I'm going to say this and I'm off here. For real this time. Listen, Donald Trump is a billionaire who's now the leader of the greatest country that ever existed. Cry me a river. He ain't worried about you crybaby athletes. You are here today, gone tomorrow. Relevant today, you ain't signed tomorrow. You have a leg injury, you are irrelevant. Remember that. Remember who paid your salary. Remember who's filling these seats that's paying you money. You ain't making money just because you're a good athlete. You're making money because people want to watch you. People are supporting you. And when you spit in their face, they will no longer support you. When you talk trash, they will no longer be a part of that. You don't disrespect America to play a sport. The end.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the monthly report for October 2017. I'm your host once again, Kerry Ilanumi, and we shall continue the show. So, Brandon labeled it spot on. It was amazing, very profound. I'm impressed. I really am. I have a feeling that guy's going to have his own television show someday or something, maybe even more, with a voice like that. So, wow, the times we live in. Now, President Trump is to create a $200 million grant program, according to the news, for what would be computer education. Russia accuses the United States of cooperating with ISIS in Syria. That can't be good. There's people in discussing what would be revoking the NFL's antitrust exemption. What would be, a lot of you don't know this, but the NFL is getting a lot of money, tax-paying money from the actual government. So when you discover that and certain variables, you may not be very appeased to discover you're paying for the NFL, even if you don't have the game ticket or the Comcast channel to watch the big game on Sunday. George Soros' money is financing civil war, as we know. On the RooshPub.com article, what would be William Binney and McGovern make the case against what would be the so-called Russian hacking allegations. As anybody who knows that's watching the show that knows the name William Binney, former head of the NSA, and what would be a major CIA individual, which would be Ray McGovern, that these are credible folks. So think twice before you go with the Russia narrative. Now, I'd like to show you this video real fast of what will be Roger Stone. He'll be discussing DNC hack, how it's an inside job, and we'll check you right back after this break.
An inside job. So I don't know whether the DNC was hacked. I don't know whether at all. I don't know that it was hacked by Russians. And now on the basis of this report, I tend to believe that it was an inside job, meaning the data was downloaded to, say, a thumb drive and spirited out of the building. I would point out that Craig Murray, who is a British diplomat, has said, for the record, that he received information from the DNC on a thumb drive and passed it to WikiLeaks.
You and the president still communicate. Have you said anything to him about what you plan to say here today? Have you spoken with him at all about this testimony?
I have not. I'm not even sure that he is aware that I was testifying today, although he may have read it in today's Washington Post. We have no information on that. There is no current schedule to do so. I would certainly be willing to do so on a voluntary basis. I would require no immunity. I would welcome the opportunity.
When was the last office?
Pardon me?
Have you heard from the last office?
I have not.
When was the last time you spoke to the president?
Recently. I'm going to decline to characterize it. It was not about this investigation.
Were there any tense moments today or anything like you walked away feeling like just tense or anything that made you uncomfortable?
No, I wouldn't say so. There were certainly some partisan clashes and maybe some disagreements, or I would say some differences of opinion, but nothing that made me uncomfortable.
Do you want to detail about what those clashes might be?
I prefer not to. I don't think that members of the committee buy some of my claims, but they have no evidence to the contrary.
Did you ask Adam Schiff directly to apologize to you?
I did not, because the length of my testimony, which included that stuff, went over, and I was only afforded 5 minutes.
And did any of it, you guys heard your statement against Ms. Swalwell and Spear?
Yes,
Did they apologize?
I'm not holding my breath.
Did you decline to say who your intermediary?
Yes, I did.
Did you decline to answer any of the questions?
No, that's the only question I declined to answer.
You delivered pretty harsh assessments about Adam Schiff and the Democrats committee. Does your opinion then still hold or change at all by interacting with him?
Well, Mr. Castro seems like a very nice guy, but beyond that, my opinion has largely not changed.
Did you have any pushback from the committee if they declined the ID or anything?
Yes, they would like me to do so. I told them that I would consider it. Now, the reason I am not submitting that name is because the intermediary is a journalist, and our conversation was off the record.
I'm an opinion journalist. He's a journalist. I'm not going to burn somebody who I spoke to off record. If he releases me, if he allows me to release it, I would be happy to give it to the committee. I'm actually going to try to do that.
Mr. Shin, you and Michael Caputo have both come here and in your statements, either before or afterwards, said, to the effect you've asked for apologies, you've said that members of the committee have sort of smeared your character. By and large, do you look at this as a serious exercise?
No, I think it's an entirely political exercise. Look, they make the charges against you in a public forum for maximum coverage to benefit their U.S. Senate campaign or their re-election, but then they only allow you to respond behind closed doors, and they won't even allow the release of a transcript. It really puts you at an extraordinarily unfair advantage. In the case of Michael Caputo, he attended the session, answered all questions truthfully, and then Congresswoman Spear, came back and maligned him, said that he had perjured himself. I don't believe that that's true.
Mr. Stone, do you think that the president should fire Bob Mueller?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because he auditioned, or I should say interviewed, for the job of FBI director the day after Mr. Comey resigned, or was fired, pardon me, was passed over for that job. That, to me, constitutes a conflict.
Have you made that recommendation directly to the president?
I have not. But I've written it, I've said it on Infowars.com, I've written it in the Daily Caller. The president may be aware of my thought.
What was the disposition of the Republicans? Were they arguing your behalf?
No, I think they were trying to do their job and write a fair report. There were some clashes between the Republicans and the Democrats about the appropriateness of some questions. But overall, it was pretty collegial.
Which questions?
Mr. Gowdy asked me directly if I had any knowledge of Russian collusion with any member of the Trump campaign, the Trump family, Donald Trump, Trump associates, Trump friends, Trump supporters, and I said no. Mr. Schiff said, well, we could ask the same question of Vladimir Putin, and Mr. Gowdy took exception to that.
Your opinion that if whatever this committee decides or whatever their report says, it's something that you can actually trust, you feel as though after going into that you can trust their conclusions?
I believe I was fairly treated, if that's your question. I'd obviously reserve judgment until I see the final report, but the entire exchange was completely professional. Everybody was courteous. I have no complaints about anyone's conduct.
Have you spoken with Mr. Manafort about the FBI raid on his house?
Yes. He believes, as I do, that it is outrageous. They not only took away 2 folders of documents, all of which they already had, but they photographed all of his custom Italian suits in his closet. I cannot imagine for what reason. English tailoring is always better than Italian tailoring, at least for my body shape.
Do you know what Manafort may be indicted for?
I don't, and neither does he, based on my brief conversation with him.
And you have said you believe he is not guilty of what he might be indicted for. Why is that?
Well, because I think what's happening here is that the special counsel will try to manufacture a crime and then say, look, Manafort, we won't prosecute you for this if you simply admit you were colluding with the Russians and that Donald Trump knew everything. In other words, bear false witness against the president. I've known Paul Manafort for over 40 years, and I don't believe he is going to do that. He is not going to lie, and that would be a lie.
But you're not familiar with his finances, his taxes?
Most certainly not. I'm sure that they're far more extensive and complicated than mine. But I have no idea what charge he could be indicted on or whether that charge is provable, fair. I don't know.
Did they ask you to come back later? Is this the end of your...
There was no discussion of coming back, although I'd certainly be open to it under the right circumstances.
Have you had any communications with Michael Flynn at all?
I have not. I don't know General Flynn. Anybody else?
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the monthly report. Now, as we continue to move forward. Hillary Clinton has a new book out called What Happened? We all know what happened. The lady lost. That's right. Now in December, before this year ends, I will be a candidate for Congress, U.S. House of Representatives in Washington State. Which position, which party, this is and that, well, that's to be disclosed when the time comes. But I can assure you there'll be a big announcement on what would be the January monthly report for 2018, as I'll have some things to discuss come then. Now, the court will review, federal courts will review Clinton's emails. That's right. Representative Steve Scalise, the one member of the Congress that was shot in an assassination attempt during the baseball game back in spring, he's back on his feet, folks, and back in the Congress. God bless him. Owner of historic clothing line to pull ads from NFL. That's right. You be anti-patriotic, and some people are going to turn against that. Because think about it. Think about all those folks in the Midwest that love the football games and feel it's patriotic and this and that and been a part of that part of their lives. Like the one gentleman that spoke earlier that's burning his jerseys and jackets and everything. Now he feels it's anti-patriotic, and he loves his nation. And God bless him, and God bless you. God bless us all. We need it. And that's for sure. Senator Chuck Grassley slams the FBI for violating the constitutional rights of members of Congress and whatnot regarding in order to protect James Comey. So this is where it's at. And this is where it's going. Now, right now, we'd like you to see what would be this video from Judicial Watch, and I sure hope you enjoy it and find it very informative, and I'll see you right back after this break.
I'm by Tom Fitton. He's the president of Judicial Watch, and he is leading much of the charge to find out what happened in the Obama administration and what some of these government agencies have been doing against the interest of the American people. Tom, good to have you here.
Hey, Lou, good to be with you again.
Let's start with these revelations today. The reporting that Bob Mueller, the special counsel, interviewed Rod Rosenstein, the deputy attorney general, who is his boss. He has oversight over Mueller and the special counsel. And yet, after an interview, Rosenstein doesn't recuse himself. The Mueller just moves ahead. What is going on here?
Well, Mueller is investigating himself, in my view, because the firing of Comey led to his appointment. Comey's leaking of information led to his appointment. And Sessions recused himself almost immediately from anything of substance as it relates to Clinton and this whole Russia scandal. And so we're faced with a constitutional mess over at the Justice Department, where Rosenstein is being interviewed by the guy he's supposed to be supervising in theory. But I think we should.
But who he also appointed.
Right, and he's the only reason he appointed him because Sessions recused himself. So by Rosenstein's own lights, he shouldn't be there either supervising Mueller. But let me just say this: I think the special counsel regulations and Mueller's appointment are constitutionally suspect. Because Mueller isn't really a U.S. attorney. He's not a U.S. attorney. He hasn't been subject to Senate confirmation. He's not supervised on a day-to-day basis by Rosenstein or anyone else at DOJ. At best, he can be fired after the fact, but he doesn't have to go to them for permission to issue a subpoena, raid Mr. Manafort's home with guns and things like that.
Guns drawn.
Right. Guns drawn. And that, to me, is constitutionally suspect.
Some of the agents.
Yeah, who's he work for? He doesn't work for the American people. He's an appointed bureaucrat who is exercising powers I don't think he should be able to.
Well, you may not think that. I may not think that. Millions of Americans can't think that because it just isn't American the way this thing is proceeding. We have seen previous special counsels. This one has gone so far beyond his charter that it's stunning. And the leadership of the Senate, Republican leadership of the Senate, Republican leadership of the House, are not raising their hand even a moment to say,
we really need to have some discussion here about the way you're comporting yourself and the way you're moving ahead. This has been under investigation, as you well know, the so-called collusion for more than a year by the FBI, and now for 5 months by the so-called special counsel. It is, at this point, the American people have got to be wondering, after watching Clapper lie again, watching Brennan's lies unfold before us, what in the world is this government, so-called, that was left behind by Barack Obama? How rancid is it? How corrupt is it?
Well, you know, when you have the leader of the opposition, Manafort, close to President Trump in the least, whether in or outside the campaign, being surveilled by the Obama administration, you really have improper intervention in the elections. You know, look, it goes back to 2012. Obama used the IRS. Robert Mueller's FBI collaborated with the IRS to figure out ways to prosecute the very groups the IRS was targeting, to suppress the Tea Party movement, and in a successful effort, in my view, to steal the election of 2012. 2016 rolls around. You've got the FBI and DOJ protecting Hillary Clinton and targeting Donald Trump in an unsuccessful effort to intervene in the election. And Mueller himself is a witness in this issue.
So
he interviewed for the job. He interviewed for the job.
I understand. I understand. We've been chronicling
Sessions should.
What I need
should
to understand is, what can we do about it?
Sessions
the American people are not going to just sit here and be rolled over again by a corrupt federal government.
We need to make sure that the officials who have the public trust and responsibility step up to the plate.
Who would that be, Tom? I mean, are you going to turn to the Speaker of the House, the Senate Majority Leader? Are you going to turn to one of the agencies, the intelligence agencies, the law enforcement agency that is the FBI, whose leaders are so corrupt that it is so disgusting most Americans can't even stomach the idea of it?
I think if Sessions doesn't step up and unrecuse himself and take control over this rogue special counsel investigation, the president should exercise his authority under the Constitution to police the Justice Department and remove Mr. Mueller.
At this point, you know he would be eaten alive by his own party. That really isn't a possibility for him in the near term.
Well, I don't know what else to do. I mean, he's the responsible official. Sessions has recused himself. Maybe he'll unrecuse himself and do the right thing. But Mueller now, it's reported today, is asking the White House about everything under the sun in terms of President Trump's firings of General Flynn and Mr. Comey. So the White House has been torn asunder by this investigation that is compromised from the beginning.
We have to go, Tom. But what we're watching, in my judgment, is the establishment, which owns both political parties' leadership. We're watching the establishment use Mueller for what he has used best, and that is as a tool against the one person who can change the direction of what has been an increasing corruption in federal government, and that is the President of the United States.
That's right.
And I think it's that straightforward. Tom, as always, great to have you.
Hello, welcome back to the Monthly Report. I'm Kerry, your host. Now, let's discuss this. We have a member of Congress, and I'm sure there are more than one, top-notch head of what would be some of the a committee in Congress, we'll just put it that way, discussing, Republican member at that, discussing what would be the need for a recall election of Senator John McCain due to his cancer and his inability to be able to function as a member of government. There's a lot of stress there. Not everybody is fit to do it, and if he really does have the aggressive brain cancer, that could be inhibiting his ability to do his job properly, and we wouldn't want that. We want him to be back in his state, able to rest as the elderly man should do, and whatnot, as what would be cancer is affected in a negative manner from stress, which he would be obviously affected with and bombarded with in Washington, D.C. with the job of being a senator. And like I said, he needs to just be back and rest and bounce back from his cancer. And so we want to pray for John McCain to do the right thing and to bounce back from his cancer, as that would be the gentleman and proper thing to do if we like him or his policies or not. So let's check out this video and we'll see you right back.
Oh, I was out there in Arizona last year, and frankly, I think Dr. Kelly Ward would have won if, well, of course, the president came out and endorsed John McCain, a rare mistake.
Now McCain is saying no.
Yeah, well, he is one of those that said, I will repeal. If he had said last year what he was going to do, right, Kelly Ward would have beat him, and Kirkpatrick would have beat him. But you know, nothing inhibits recovery from cancer like stress. I think the Arizona could help him and us, recall him, let him, you know, fight successfully this terrible cancer, and let's get somebody in here who will keep the word he gave last year.
Say that again. What are you suggesting? He'd be recalled?
I think it would be very helpful
because
to
of
him
this.
And the country. He's got cancer. It's a tough battle, but stress is a real inhibitor toward getting over cancer. So let him go back, deal with the cancer, let Arizona recall him so that we can get somebody that will keep his word from last year.
Hello and welcome back as we're finishing up over the next moments ahead the monthly report for October 2017. I am your host once again, Kerry Ilanumi of NoSpinNewsSource.com, which is where this is coming out of. NoSpinNewsSource.com, my website, the people's website, ultimately has been in session and going now for 6 years as of July. I can't believe it myself. What caused this to occur? Well, I got tired of hearing lies. I got tired of people being lied to and being manipulated. You know, I would sit down with people and chat politics all over the political spectrum. Conservatives, liberals, fringe, libertarians, anybody and everybody, and the only thing we can agree on is there's a lot of propaganda, a lot of stuff in the news, a lot of disinformation. Usually slants to one side or the other, and they're telling you only part of the story, and you discover a lot of it's not accurate, to put it mildly, when it's all said and done. So where can we go for real news? Well, I go out of my way to discover the truth and reality. So as I mentioned earlier, sometimes people find it a little difficult to understand. Wait a minute, Kerry. As I put down certain candidates in certain ways where they deserve it, but then I'll give them a pat on the back where they deserve it. That's just being fair. That's how I want you to be with me. That's right. When I'm running for office, and better yet, when I get into office, keep me on my toes and help me to be educated and do the right things. That's what we need to expect out of the people. Keep us on our toes and do our thing. I'm not a news guy. NoSpinNewsSource.com came because we got tired, people did, and the same old, and one day somebody told me, an individual said, you know, I just wish we could find somewhere to get news, just no spin, just reality. And so I tried to come up with the idea or a name myself, but the no spin just stuck. It came from the people. It resonated and touched my heart and caused me to create it, that website, and do something from that idea that a hard-working individual told me, a stranger. I didn't even know him. But it's amazing sometimes how idle chit-chat can turn into something and an idea that causes someone to go somewhere or do something and whatnot. I spend my life, my whole adult life, it's been very interesting. I wanted to be a professional musician, and I pursued that to a point even to several years ago. But everything has taught me back to politics over and over. And here I am. So I'm trying to provide you with information here at NoSpinNewsSource.com. I'm on Twitter and Facebook. I go door to door and store to store and send out publications and writing emails and doing calls and conference calls and conferences and whatever. You know that out there. If you've ever ran into me, chances are I've talked your ear off about politics. But nonetheless, I hope that people as such are finding NoSpinNewsSource.com a little easier to be able to take now and resonate with, as people are discovering that I have been right over the years and whatnot, and try to label it and be truth and hold people accountable on all sides. I even hold myself accountable, that's for sure. If I make a mistake, I'll tell you. So I care about not deceiving or misleading. I wouldn't deceive you, obviously, but I care about accidentally misleading the people from having a wrong fact or this is or that. And by the way, this isn't off the, as you see I had the paper, this isn't even on the paper to discuss with you. I have talking points and certain basics on their videos and things I wanted to discuss, and I just wrote those basics down. But this is just me talking to you from the heart. I'm looking forward to ending this because I'm sweating and it's really, really hot out here, and I have a busy day and stuff planned this Thursday, the rest of today. But let me tell you, this feels good just to, and this is often what I do. I did this last month with some religious and certain things as well. I do this every month. I just kind of go off on a rant and just talk to you from the heart. So I hope everybody out there is pulling through. I don't like to see people suffer. We have to stick together. Please, folks, don't get into the hard drugs. Don't hurt yourselves, suicide or this or that. The hard times are here and they're going to get harder. I hate to say that, but we're going to pull through. We all need each other. We all need each other. So, God bless each and every one of you. Let's work together. We used to be a lot closer, talk about this nation and talk about the Seattle area. So let's get back to that again and let's be happy. Let's find happiness. Let's find a reason to live. Let's find a bright future ahead of us. Even though I don't expect too many 83-degree days the rest of this year. A little joke there, as it is the very end of September. So once again, thank you so much for watching the show. Please like, please share, please become part of the team. I'm running for Congress, as you know, and this isn't easy, folks. So it isn't supposed to be easy. It is supposed to be hard work, and I want it to be hard work, but I could use your help too. Thank you.
All the ladies in Seattle, I want you to sing this shit with us. Let's go. Itchin', number 9, rolling down the DP line. Itchin', number 9, rolling down the DP line. You play the mama, I play the jack. You play the mama, I play the jack. You can play the mama, I play the jack. Jack, run to the house, check it out. I'm in the shack, got the blings of the sack. Yeah, we grown all alone, posted up in the back. Cause I was taking it. I can let the whole house shaking. Y'all dancing that ass, baby girl, don't fake it, don't get me wrong. Tell me what's the flavor of the song. You know it's dancing your drawers when your mama ain't home. When you your mama, I got your love, loving me.